distinction that this store received with Ford and Lincoln this year. We received the President's Award for 2023 for Ford for the 5th year in a row. We also received it for Lincoln for the first year. And I tell you, those awards don't come easily. It all boils down to taking care of the customers and having the vehicles you want in stock.
All right, guys, here comes the music.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All Things Saine with Representative Jason Saine. And welcome to All Things Saine here on WSIC. I'm your host, Jason Saine, back again. We are now back on Mondays, though. New time, new place, new face here on WSIC. We'll be doing this for here and to the unforeseeable future, at least, or foreseeable future. And we'll take the 3 o'clock spot on Monday. So excited to be here. It gets us a fresh start on the week, especially as we cover things that are happening in politics, try to recap what happened over the weekend and looking forward into the next week. All things sane means that we look at all things that change, come and go. Today, we got a jam-packed show. I got two great friends joining us now. Representative Reece Pyrtle, who represents Rockingham County, his district number 65, and Representative Charlie Miller. He represents District 19, which is Brunswick and New Hanover. They are not new to the legislature, but they are new to the show. So first-time guests, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Well, you've come into work early. I mean, normally legislatures don't really work on Mondays, or at least that was my impression. Maybe it's just me. When I was there, I didn't really work on Mondays. But you guys are you guys are showing up. It must be that you were so excited from that wonderful Super Bowl that happened last night. I know. I loved it. It was incredible. I mean, it's really honestly the best game I've ever seen, except it stunk on ice. But love to hear your impressions.
I wasn't too. I was glad that the Eagles won, but that last pass by the Chiefs might have cost me a little bit of money. So
there was a lot of cost involved for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, might have cost him some money. I was happy to, I would have liked to see a little bit more competitive game. It really surprised me. I'm a Barkley fan. I'm a huge fan of that running back, and I was glad to see the Eagles win. The Chiefs done won the last two, so share the love, spread the love a little bit. But I'd like to see a little bit more competitive game. It was, I'm telling you, it was out of reach at halftime.
I got bored. I mean, the commercials weren't that good, and so that didn't keep me entertained. Kendrick Lamar, is that his name? Hedy Lamar? I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, the halftime show guy didn't do much for me. I realize I'm not the demographic they're going after, but still didn't do much for me.
Yeah,
I didn't know who they were, to be honest with you. I don't believe I've ever heard any of their music.
But and I like rap music. I mean, I'm an OG. I know you probably didn't know that, but turns out I am. I am both West Coast and East Coast. So I'm ambidextrous, but I don't know that guy. And I had a house full of teenagers and 16-year-olds, and they weren't exactly excited about him. Like one kid was, mine, but the rest were kind of
Now my LA knew exactly who he was. I had no clue until this morning. She had to school me on that, but
it's because we're getting old.
Yeah, because we're old.
My daughter knew exactly
that's what I said. It just made me old, right? I'm not being critical. It's just not my thing.
My daughter thought it was a great show. I said, okay. There's been some country music on there, or maybe some Journey or Led Zeppelin or something like that. I could have got into it, but anyway, it was good.
Honestly, I'd have taken a cover band for that, but Well, gentlemen, we will get a little serious here on the program. I know you all are just getting started in session, so not much has been going on. I described a couple of weeks ago on the show as like, you get sworn in January, take a couple of weeks. It takes, especially with a new speaker. You got Destin Hall now as a speaker. He's got to get his thing set in motion his way, because it's new leadership, and you got new members, and you got rid of dead weight like me, and
You got new folks coming in, so it takes a while to get the chairmanships assigned, and then committee assignments and office assignments. So it takes a little bit of while, but you guys have been working, and I know a lot of bills have been filed already, things that you thought about when you weren't in session. Believe it or not, we do spend some time not in session in North Carolina. So what's happening? I mean, is it painfully slow, or is it just a normal order of business?
Well, I mean, we're here on a Monday. Like you said, we got a new speaker now, and really looking forward to that. Tim was really good to all of us, and looking forward to great things from Washington from him. But Destin, we're really excited to have Destin as our speaker, and John Bell as our rule chair, and Brendan as our majority leader. So, new session, new schedule. That's why we're here on Mondays. And, me and Reece are working on a lot of different bills and stuff. A lot of them we're working on together. Excuse me. And we're just here on Monday to get things ready to go and make sure everything's filed. So,
and along with what Charlie said, it's this time of year when you first getting started, you're getting there's a lot of conversations taking place about, hey, I'm thinking about this bill. Would you be interested in being a co-sponsor or a primary sponsor with me? And if you are, what can you bring to make it an even better bill? And so there's a lot of those conversations taking place right now, and it's with a lot of different members, and there's a lot of text. And I've been working the phones today on another piece of legislation that we're talking about doing, and so there's so much of that, Jason. That's what takes place behind the scenes in order to get a good pace of legislation to the finish line. You got to get out of the starting block before you can get to the finish line, and so there's been quite a bit of that.
Yeah, it don't happen overnight, and it does take relationships, and it does take those conversations, and the general public don't see that, and it's just they'd be bored to tears if they knew it, but it doesn't mean that there's not work going on just because you're not there on the House floor making debating issues and so forth. It's everything building up to that. But so for our audience, you guys are from a little different area of the state. Reece, you're from Rockingham County, so you touch Virginia, and our surfer boy down there, Charlie Miller, he gets to live on the coast. So we got a good representation, but you also you guys got law enforcement backgrounds. Tell us, we got about a minute and a half. Reece, you start. Tell us how you got to the legislature, what your background is, and Charlie, we'll get to you.
All right. I was in law enforcement, and I announced that I was going to retire, and I got asked to run for county commissioner. And so I did. And I got elected county commissioner, and for a year, I was a police chief and a county commissioner. And that was fun. And if I encourage, all our police chiefs to consider doing something like that sometime. It's a whole lot of fun. But no, I was blessed. I did that. I got reelected to the Board of Commissioners. And then, unfortunately, our representative passed away unexpectedly, and the party asked me to fill his unexpired term. And I come down here in August of 21, and I've been reelected twice. And it's really a great experience, and I wish everybody could have this experience.
Awesome. Yeah, Charlie, in about 20 seconds, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll come back after the break.
34 years law enforcement. My last 2 years in law enforcement, or my last 14 years in law enforcement, I was the chief deputy with the sheriff's office in Brunswick County, and was also on the school board. So I had to resign midterm of the school board when this House district became available. I told them no to start with, but here I am.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment, right after this break, with Charlie and Reece.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with more All Things Saine on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, cloudy and cool as we kick off a new work week. Temperatures around 50 for our Monday afternoon. Slim chance of a passing shower, but otherwise it's mostly dry and cloudy. However,
it's cool.
When you get Rome, cold rain on the way. Temperatures right around 40, and washout days for our Tuesday and Wednesday. Rain totals could be up to around a few inches around Lake Norman by the time we get to the end of the week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like ISI Denver.
All right, guys, about 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday, February 13th, Lake Norman Woman Magazine is hosting Ladies' Night at Bin 110 in Cornelius. The relaxing social evening begins at 6:30 p.m. Feel free to come make new friends, get to know your neighbors in the community, and possibly catch up with pals you have not seen in a while. Bin 110 hosts Ladies' Night this Thursday, brought to you by Lake Norman Woman Magazine. The Wine Maestro in Statesville has live music with Captain Dar on Friday. Captain Dar delivers entertainment with a capital E. With his acoustic music sets, it makes a perfect addition to your Valentine's Day plans. The Wine Maestro in Statesville presents live music on Friday night at 7 p.m. Mooresville Arts and Events welcomes you to join them for a date night like no other in the ballrooms of the Charles Mack Citizen Center on Friday and Saturday. Sigmund Theatrical's Murder Mystery Crew is back with Check-In for Murder. The action will unfold around you, with some guests even becoming characters inside of the story. It's a high-class evening of dinner, theater, and mystery. Visit statesvilleevents.com for tickets and information. Enjoy the Valentine's Day special at the Speedway Club at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Come celebrate with that someone special with a 3-course dinner or something off the regular menu. The Speedway Club Valentine's special runs Thursday, February 13th through Saturday, February 15th. Then on Sunday, you can cheer on your favorite driver during the Great American Race at the Speedway Club Daytona 500 viewing party. Visit 704-455-3216 for Speedway Club reservations or visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftovers,
15
Simon, the
seconds.
Warren Treaty, The Steel
15
Drivers,
seconds.
and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Local stories, local leadership. This is All Things Saine on WSIC. Local starts here.
And welcome back to All Things Saine here on WSIC. You're listening to All Things Saine. I'm your host, Jason Saine. We're doing this on Monday, so do not attempt to adjust the dial. You're not hearing inaccurate information that's always accurate when it comes from Jason Saine, but you're hearing it at 3 o'clock on a Monday, unless you're listening to the podcast. But when you want to listen live, you can grab us on the live feed. Even if you're not in the area, in the Lake Norman area, you can grab it from anywhere you are, even on airplanes now, thanks to Elon Musk. But nevertheless, we love having you in. We've got Representative Reece Pyrtle and Representative Charlie Miller. They were on the first segment. Glad to have you guys back. Real quick, you guys have both served in local government and you're former law enforcement officers, and then you found yourself at the State House. So you bring a really unique experience as you come in, as we learn about legislators. Everybody comes from something a little different. I know as a appropriations chairman, I lean on you guys to tell me what law enforcement needs were and how to navigate that. So I am most certain that the new speaker is going to be leaning on you even more as you navigate what needs to happen with state government. But what are you guys working on? Is anything what's new?
You know, I got a whole list of bills, and so does Reece. But you know, we're working with the SBI, we're working with the ALE, all the law enforcement agencies, Highway Patrol, all these guys. Pretty much come to us and run things by us, and we've been meeting for the last Reece 2 weeks with you know, whether it's the colonel or the directors of ALE or SBI, and just going over some things in preparation for the budget process. Got a few bills, and I'll let Reece talk about his bill that I'm a primary with. But I've got one bill that I've already filed that will help smooth the process on arsons between the SBI and the fire marshals. Brought both those groups to the table, and we're able to come to a compromise, and they're both playing nice now, and not that they weren't before, but it's just gonna make it an easier process that they both agree to. So there's tons of bills that we've been filing and co-sponsoring and primarying on, but you know, really the law enforcement, public safety is our avenue. And you know, that's one of the things I learned when I first got here. You know, there's 120 of us in the House, and everybody's pretty much from a different background, and everybody brings something special to the floor. And you know, people come to us with the law enforcement. We go to Chris Humphrey for the insurance. We go to different ones for different things and their background, and that's the way it should be. And it makes it a healthy chamber.
Well, I think people get the impression that the legislature is made up of all doctors and lawyers, right? And that's just not the case anymore. Maybe that was in the 70s and 80s, but that's they're fewer and far between. Not that we don't need doctors. I won't say that about lawyers, but not that we don't need doctors. But I'm just kidding for my lawyer buddies. But the speaker's a lawyer, right? And when I need a good lawyer, I want a good lawyer, right?
That's right.
But having someone from law enforcement, I was a firefighter. When you talk about interagency squabbles, if you will, or sometimes it's just a matter of the law not being congruent with what needs to happen. Things have changed, so you got to make adjustments. And so you guys are there doing that, and you don't get enough thank you. So I want to say thank you because I know what you have to do. And I know a lot of our law enforcement across the state appreciate the fact that you're just there being an advocate for not just your constituents, but certainly in the areas where you've kind of specialized. And that makes a huge difference. And Reece, you're working on a bill about kind of an ESG thing. I know our audience understands what ESG is, where basically some of these companies going a little woke and want to dictate what you can and can't do, particularly with your finances. Things are changing since something happened in November that seems to be taking the country in a new direction. But what's the bill that's I had it up earlier? It's House Bill 38, Second Amendment Financial Privacy Act.
It is.
What is that?
And it's two bills that I'm really excited about, and that's one of them. And I'll touch on it. Then I want to touch on another, and I'm really excited about too. But House Bill 38, that all started with. I had a former legislator come to me and say, "Hey, I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but your credit card companies are tracking how we're spending our money if we buy firearms. They go and check in the stores. There's unique numbers. They got a way to track if we purchase a firearm. They have a way to track that." And, in an age, and I don't have to tell you this, one of the big fusses about TikTok and what China's doing is just mining data wherever they can get it. And I have no problem. I'm a big Second Amendment guy, and I have no problem if you purchase a firearm and you do it the correct manner and you go through a licensed dealer, there's a process there. I don't need Visa to track my firearm purchases. And what's the difference if you use cash or if I use my credit card? My credit card company, all I'm interested in is they pay the bill and I will pay them. I don't need them to sell my data on what I purchased for my spending habits to other entities. And so that's where the onus of that come from. And of course, I know the feds have addressed it, but I filed it again just because it's the principle of the thing. I don't want anybody mining my data. It's nobody's business between if I go to purchase a firearm, if I use a credit card, if I use cash. That's my business and not yours. And so that's kind of what got that going.
Americans want to appreciate privacy. They don't like an intrusive government.
No.
We had a little battle over that.
Or an intrusive business world, private sector. I don't want the private sectors. That's not their lane, and they don't need to drive in it, Jason. So that's kind of what got that one. But the other one that I want to talk about real briefly is the one that my colleague was just talking about, House Bill 50, and it's about the law enforcement separation of options. That's the bill that all the law enforcement agencies across the state have been in favor of. I ran it last time, and Charlie was one of my primaries then. But that will allow you to defer your supplemental retirement. That's the retirement you get from the agency that you retire from. They pay you a supplemental retirement until you're eligible for Social Security. Well, this bill will allow you to defer that. And you can continue working. You lock in your payment at your 30-year mark. You got to have 30 years of service in order to do it. But you lock in what your rate's going to be. But you can continue that you're going to get that's going to be your supplemental retirement. But you can continue to work and defer that for as long as you work. And so this will help if you want to keep working it. I retired at 50 years old with 30 years service. I draw my supplement until I'm 62. If I wanted to work 10 more years, that would have been fine. then I would have drew my supplement for 10 years past 62. So it's a really good thing. It's going to help bridge some of the officers who have to retire and go get another job. Now they can keep working, and they don't have to worry about drawing their Social Security at 62. They can draw it at 66, 67, and max it out and not pay the penalty. So it's a great deal.
It's not just a benefit to the individual officer, but it's a huge benefit to the departments who can pull on that experience.
Absolutely.
Like anything else, you don't start day one and know everything about the job. You're learning every day from year 1 to year 30 and past year 30. But having that kind of experience, I know from fire department stuff, we leaned a lot on the guys that've been around a long time. Knew the nuances of the pumper truck or what to do in a fire. And the same applies to law enforcement. And if you can keep those folks on, you kind of incentivize that. You're not just giving an incentive to go away. You're saying, hey, here's an incentive to hang around. And if there's a need in a local department, getting qualified law enforcement has been difficult over the years. Look, it's a dangerous job. Taking the job that there's a lot of dangers involved in it. But for those willing to do it, I think this makes all the sense in the world, and particularly, as a citizen, just, wanting to be protected, to have some of the best, most qualified people out there working. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. But, I had a major that he worked till he was 52. So he lost a year of his supplement. And he came to me, he said, look, I lost $24,000 last year by not retiring and taking that supplement. We didn't want him to leave, though, and he still had many years left that he could have continued to work, but he just couldn't afford to lose $24,000 a year in supplement.
Wherever I go, and Charlie's the same way, we get asked about that bill.
Everywhere.
From the Sheriff's Association, and I'll be honest with you, too. It got support. We checked with the League of Municipalities, County Commissioners Association, and other state departments, and everybody. There was no opposition to this, so it's not a cost measure for the state.
It'll be a good bipartisan bill.
It breezed through the House, and I anticipate it's going to breeze through. It breezed through the House last time. I anticipate the same thing, and I anticipate going through the Senate. And one of the other thing, we talk about law enforcement. We're also big advocates, not just law enforcement, public safety. I have I don't care what branch you're in. Because I pulled a lot of hose off fire trucks in my career too. Yeah. In the volunteer, being a police officer and working with predominantly volunteer agencies. So, but no, my public safety. Big fan, huge fan of all public safety, and going to work hard to support them.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking to Representative Reece Pyrtle, Representative Charlie Miller. Glad to have you guys on today. We got about right at a minute, but what can we expect in the coming weeks of the legislature? And we'd love to have you check back in on a regular basis. Again, we're going to be doing the show now on Mondays at 3:00. Hopefully that gets fits the legislative schedule a little better too before you guys go into session on Monday nights.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely. Would love to be here and keep you informed, especially the legislation that we're part of. And we're big fans of not just stuff in the law enforcement, but anything that benefits all of North Carolina and North Carolinians. We're going to support.
Yeah, Reese's wife is a 30+ year teacher. My daughter's about halfway through, so she's a teacher too. So we support education and trying to support our teachers and education. So.
Yeah. Well, as people forget, you become an expert on a lot of different issues, and like you say, my mom was a realtor, and my wife works in county government. I had to learn a lot of different things too that we deal with at the legislature, and I know you guys will be working on that throughout the session. So, really do appreciate you coming on. It's great to have you both. Great friends, you're hard workers at the legislature, and we'll look forward to you checking in with us.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, take care. We'll be back after these messages.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with more All Things Saine on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, cloudy and cool as we kick off a new work week. Temperatures around 50 for our Monday afternoon. Slim chance of a passing shower, but otherwise it's mostly dry and cloudy. However, as we go into the middle of the week, a lot of cold rain
good work.
on the way.
You need anything?
Right around 40.
I think I'm good, sir. Appreciate that.
Excellent. All right. Let's see. Your next caller is also going to be virtual.
That's your
He
forecast.
will be, yeah, Keith Kidwell.
WSIC Weather Center. I'm a meteorologist.
You got a few minutes here till we're back, all right? I'll keep you
If
posted.
you're living with dry age-related macular or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Are you in constant pain, under constant stress? Just need a moment away? Repeat after me. Serenity Now Massage Therapy. SerenityNowMassageAndWellness.com with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
76 years strong and we're still the one. WSIC. News. Talk. Now.
Brighten up your winter wardrobe at Mina's Boutique, a curated selection of affordable, on-trend fashion for all shapes and sizes. Located in downtown Cornelius, Mina's is your go-to spot for clothes and accessories that bring joy to every season. See you at Mina's.
Welcome to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell from Temple Baptist Church in Statesville.
The Bible says in 1 John chapter 2, verse number 15, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Folks, when God talks about loving the world is not just the breaking of the Ten Commandments. The world is a system, and the worldly system is orchestrated by Satan. It feeds off of our fleshly, sinful nature, and it's everything about us that wants to influence us and affect our life toward things that dishonor God. The next verse talks about the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. These are all the things, the categories of the love of the world. But obviously, a relationship with God is a love relationship. We have to make a choice. You can love the world or you can love God, but you can't do both.
Thanks for listening to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell here on WSIC.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Trump continues to ramp up tariffs and says he plans to announce 25% tariffs on all U.S. imports of steel and aluminum.
All right, guys, just under a minute. Representative Kidwell, can you hear me all right?
Trump has not said when the duties would take effect.
It's just 40 bill, but I think you said 30 seconds. I got it.
All right, you're on. Excellent, I'm in.
The president is also focused on pennies. He says he's asked the Treasury to stop minting the coin, saying it's a waste of money. The cost to produce a penny is now 3.7 cents, according to the U.S. Mint. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that was formed to protect consumers from financial abuses, has been locked down by the acting CFPB director, Russell Vought. The move appears to be a prelude to essentially shuttering the CFPB, much like what Elon Musk's Doge team did to the U.S. Agency for International Development. Stocks today up between 0.4% and 1.1%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
The best talk all day long.
WSIC.
Local starts here.
From representing District 97
Glad to have
to
you
representing your voice,
And it is a busy, busy week here in Raleigh.
this is All Things Saine.
And welcome back to All Things Saine. I'm your host, Jason Saine. We have got a jam-packed full half hour here. If you heard the first hour, we heard from Representative Reece Pyrtle, Representative Charlie Miller, talking about things that they're working on in law enforcement and other issues there at the legislature. But it is a huge pleasure to welcome another representative, Representative Keith Kidwell, who was referred to in an article last week as the bulldozer. Kidwell, he is replicating efficiency efforts in North Carolina, much what you see at the national level. You're watching Elon Musk and the Doge, getting those government efficiencies out there. North Carolina's going to do the same thing. Speaker Hall has decided that, hey, this looks like a good idea. We will take that from the Trump playbook and implement it in North Carolina. And I don't think you could have found a better guy to do this than the bulldozer. Keith Kidwell, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Jason. Good to be here. I'm so used to calling you Representative Saine, so I don't know.
I get caught a lot worse. I'll answer to anything other than Mr. Saine. That's my dad. So whatever you call me will be fine. Well, Keith, glad to have you on the show. You hail from the coast. You've got about 4 counties you represent?
Yeah, Beaufort, Hyde, Dare, and Pamlico. My district is actually larger than the state of Connecticut.
Good night. Yeah, you do have a lot of land mass that you get to represent, but it takes that many counties to get enough people for the district. Just because it's Eastern North Carolina. It's a beautiful area, but it's not full of people. So I'm very envious. I bet you had a great time this weekend in that wonderful weather.
Oh yeah, it was nice. But I spent most of the weekend, Jason, going around doing my job as a representative. So
you don't
not
get
a lot of fun
downtime.
time.
You don't get a lot of downtime.
Plus, as you well know, I'm in the tax business, so that kind of keeps me busy this time of year.
Well, tax season will keep you busy. I've been searching for all my stuff, and I'm fortunate that my account is across the hallway from my office. But I got the same pressures everybody else does, and then you've got you got everybody's problems as you're processing their tax work. So,
I actually enjoy the challenge. So.
Well, you're up for it, and look, nobody works harder than you at the legislature. And I was excited when I saw the speaker make his chairmanship announcements and seeing what he's asked you and Representative Torbett to do with your Doge committee. What is it? The Select Committee on Government Efficiency is the correct name.
That's correct. Yeah, we call it SCOGE in North Carolina.
SCOGE. All right. Well, we'll go with SCOGE. Well, you got a lot of work to do. We all want efficiency in government. I don't even think
absolutely.
That's a partisan thing. Yeah. I mean, people, if they're paying money for government, they want to get the most out of it. So what's your vision for the committee?
Wow. So, we're still actually developing that. Came up, the speaker called, I don't know, the day here. He calls me up. I was out sleigh riding with my great-grandchildren and grandchildren. And he tells me, hey, Keith, I got this committee I want you to head up. And here's what it is. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll take that. But I think the vision is to kind of do what they're doing at the federal level here, Jason. And that's to route out that waste, fraud, abuse, duplication of effort. And as well as getting rid of any excess real estates that the state has possession of, or getting them into proper. So one thing I did even more, we had, I think, 6 acres that Department of Transportation had here in Eastern North Carolina, and it had 5 or 6 beautiful little ponds on it for bass fishing, and it was sitting there doing nothing. 25 years of emptiness. And I finally said, no, this is a waste of taxpayers' land and resources. So I went to Wildlife and DOT, got them to do a handshake, and we transferred it over to Wildlife. Now I go past there all day, every day. There's people fishing. Love to see that kind of use of state assets back in the state's hands. We did a couple things just going to the committees in North Carolina and divisions, and I said, let me see if there's duplication, and I am finding that. We have Women's Department of Correction, Men's Department of Corrections, we have Department of Prisons, we have Department of Parole, Department of Probation, and I'm thinking this could probably be consolidated down to one. as I'm clicking through the different divisions, Jason, I came across energy programs. Clicked on that link. It took me to a porn site. Yes.
A lot of energy there, but not the kind you want your government involved
Not
in,
what
right?
I'm looking for. So I could say something else there too, but I won't. I'll keep it clean. But anyway, so I contacted the people in charge of that, and literally they had it fixed in a couple hours. But now, okay, we got to do the deep dive. What else is wrong with our web systems within the state? Because this is a situation they didn't know was happening. They don't know how long. I need answers to those questions. So that's something we're going to do. Just had here in Eastern North Carolina, found out that one of my cities, the mayor is the sheriff hiring relatives as general managers of the stores and of ABC, and possibly diverting some of the alcohol. That's and you would probably appreciate this. The bourbon allocation is being diverted to his friends and cronies. I'm like, hold on a minute, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, so we're working
right. It's
on
not
that.
fair.
It's not fair. So, and then the Department of Administration put out a bid for fuels, and I got the contract. I them want to give them. I just a hard way, the easy way. I don't care. Just tell me which one we're doing, and that's the route I'll take. So they kept holding back, and finally I went to the attorney that's been appointed to us. I went to our GovOps committee chair. And I told them what was going on. I said, get them, boys. Then I went to the state auditor, Dave Bullock, and got him on them too. And you know what's funny, Jason? 2 hours later, they decided to do it the easy way. It's amazing how that happened.
It's amazing how that happened.
Kind of what the president there was Columbia. We're not taking back our criminals and all this stuff. And Trump said, okay, we're going to slam these tariffs on you. And all of a sudden he's like, no, we'll take them back, and I'll send my personal jet to get them. Same type thing. Sometimes you just have to step on these people's toes and let them know you're for real. So anyway, they sent me this contract, Jason. I'm reading through it. The auctioneer, they're doing it a new way, new contract. The auctioneer is going to get $0.015 per gallon for every gallon of any type fuel they sell under this contract for years. Now, a lot of people are mathematicians. Well, I'm going to tap for trained by who? The Internal Revenue Service on forensic accounting. Okay. And when I dug down into this contract, this company that's doing the auction for the fuels, small job, we're not talking about this is a massive job they have to handle, stands to make over $4.25 million for holding an auction. That is a sweet deal if you can get it. And I'm going to do my best to make sure they don't get it. So, and by the way, all of the above, I've already sent it on looking into them. Kid will have a report on it when next Monday. Okay, awesome. So we're rocking and rolling.
Well, no, that's great to hear. Like as a taxpayer, now I'm in the private sector again. Of course, I always had to pay taxes. People forget that legislators are private citizens too. But look, it's not that we understand that there's cost to government, but when the money that people work hard to earn and that people know better where to spend that money, they don't mind paying their fair share, I think, most times, as long as they know that it's being well spent and gone for the purposes of which it's supposed to go toward, not to line the pockets and look, not even as nefarious as that, just so they're not burning through money. Right. Certainly fraud is something we want to look at, but as much as anything, we want to look at just, are we spending the money well? We got about 30 minutes, Keith. We'll come back after the break, but kind of tee us up for as you are getting your kind of sea legs, sounds like you already have them. How quickly you think the committee will start working?
Well, I'm going to rock them all, and I are going to sit down with Representative Torbett, who is the co-chair on this committee, with our staff that we've got appointed to this point, and we're going to lay out the strategy of how we're going to move forward. My vote, one of the first ones I want to go after is DMV. Matter of fact, I see where Senator Rabin came out and wants to restructure DMV. I'm all for that because, believe me, there's an absolute waste of energy and effort in that. It's one of the largest, as a representative, it's one of the largest tweet representatives is DMV. We got to figure out. I'm going to, my friend, I'm wide open on this, and all I want to hear from the speaker is get them, boy.
That's right. Well, we'll be back after this quick break.
By the time we get to the end of the week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday, February 13th, Lake Norman Woman Magazine is hosting Ladies' Night at Bin 110 in Cornelius. The relaxing social evening begins at 6:30 p.m. Feel free to come make new friends, get to know your neighbors in the community, and possibly catch up with...
All right, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Bin 110 hosts Ladies' Night this Thursday, brought to you by Lake Norman Woman Magazine. The Wine Maestro in Statesville has live music with Captain Dar on Friday. Captain Dar delivers entertainment with a capital E. With his acoustic music sets, it makes a perfect addition to your Valentine's Day plans. The Wine Maestro in Statesville presents live music on Friday night at 7 p.m. Mooresville Arts and Events welcomes you to join them for a date night like no other in the ballrooms of the Charles Mack Citizen Center on Friday and Saturday. Sigmund Theatrical's Murder Mystery Crew is back with Check-In for Murder. The action will unfold around you, with some guests even becoming characters inside of the story. It's a high-class evening of dinner, theater, and mystery. Visit statesvilleevents.com for tickets and information. Enjoy the Valentine's Day special at the Speedway Club at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Come celebrate with that someone special with a 3-course dinner or something off the regular menu. The Speedway Club Valentine's special runs Thursday, February 13th through Saturday, February 15th. Then on Sunday, you can cheer on your favorite driver during the Great American Race at the Speedway Club Daytona 500 viewing party. Visit 704-455-3216 for Speedway Club reservations or visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
From the house floor to your radio dial.
Glad you joined us if you're joining us live.
It's All Things Saine.
Love talking to everyone in and around the lake.
WSIC. Local starts here.
And welcome back to All Things Saine here on WSIC. Great to be with you. I'm your host, Jason Saine. We do this every week, but if you just tuned in, you're not used to hearing my voice on Monday afternoon. If you're listening live, we have now moved to 3 o'clock on Monday. So love that spot. We get to talk to legislators before they go into session. They've got their schedule that's been out there, which is also new. So they're trying that, but we've got a new speaker in North Carolina. He's trying some new things. We got on the phone with us, Representative Keith Kidwell. We had a little bandwidth problem, so he just hung up and called in, so we get a clear voice here, because if you know anything about Keith Kidwell, he's got a clear voice, and he speaks with authority, and he is the bulldozer, as he's been named by this article in the Assembly. If you're just joining us, understand that he is co-chairing a committee that's going to squeeze out efficiencies in state government, look for fraud, waste, and abuse, and go after it. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jason. Good to be here.
Well, sorry we had to cut you on the video, but look, this we adapt and improvise, and you get that. You got a lot of military in your district. I bet you get an earful from folks at home when they see government waste.
Oh, look, as soon as they found out I was the chairman on the DOJ committee, my phone and email started lighting up like crazy of people telling me. I've always heard it as a representative, as you're fully aware, but now that they know that I'm heading this thing up, man, I am just going nuts with phone calls, text messages. I had a couple of people that called me today that I want to do a whistleblower thing on this. Let's go. And like I told you, we're already auditing most of these things through the auditor's department. We've got our own investigative team that we're going to be using, and we're working in coordination with GovOps. Representative Jake Johnson is heading that up. So the speaker's really going about this the right way. We're pulling together the right people for the job. We're spreading out the workload so that we can be effective depending on our respective areas. And, as you well know, as a member of the General Assembly under the General Statute, we can request any documentation we want from any state agency, and they must provide it. They don't have a choice. So.
Well, that's right. And people don't realize that is a pretty interesting power that legislators have. though it hasn't been as used as much as it probably should have. It's not meant to be, obtrusive, so so that you can't function in government, but it does mean that the people get answers, and you as a representative of the people, that's your job, is to get those answers and to make sure that government is being run the right way. I referenced folks in your district that you got a lot of retired military, a lot of active military too, I'm sure, but who have seen it firsthand, who've served their country. They too love the country. That's why they served, but they also want to make sure that their country's doing it the right way, and they want to see that their state's doing it the right way.
Absolutely. And Jason, I'm sure you're still following the activities at the General Assembly, and you're well aware that we have a $60 billion bill that needs to be paid in Western North Carolina for the damage from the hurricane. There's also damage across the state from the hurricane. People think it was only the mountains. That was the predominantly affected area. But down east here, we had 25 inches of rain from those storms. While it doesn't have the impact on the landscape that it did in Western North Carolina, it had a major impact on farmers' crops. So we've got to deal with that here in Eastern North Carolina as well. So we've got $60 billion. That's billion with a B that we have to deal with in a budget problem. And if we can cut waste, fraud, and abuse, that's going to give us how much more money to direct to those relief efforts, and in a very quick way, without having to increase taxes on anybody. And I'm going to tell you, to me, I've always felt that taxes, I'm in the tax business, Jason. I spent years, my entire life, 40-some-odd years, 44 years, I think, this year, that I spent in the tax business trying to save my clients money. And now I'm going to have that opportunity at the state level to go through, and I'm going to be honest with you. Some people, let's take a scalpel to this. Oh, no. I'm taking a hatchet or a chainsaw to it. And we're going to cut away at the waste, fraud, and abuse and get down to the crux of it, because you know as well as I do, it's there, and we're going to route it out and make sure. And the part you missed on this, Jason, maybe, is they've also put DEI under the Select Committee for Government Efficiency so that we can route out and destroy DEI, because that's not giving us the best people in the best places. I don't care what you look like, what you sound like, or what you do in your home. I care about one thing. Can you do the job? And that's who we should be putting into the positions in the state government, not based on anything else. And to me, I'm going to enjoy that part of the job just as much.
Well, I know you are. You're kind of like the proverbial pig in mud. I mean, this is where you want to be. This is the stuff you really love. Like I say, I can think of no one better to head this up and help lead on this effort. And kudos to the speaker for recognizing it. And look, if yesterday was an indication of anything, watching President Trump get cheered at the Super Bowl, for the efforts that he's done in just a month, not even a full month of pushing forward and letting Elon Musk look for these things. DEI has been mentioned multiple times by the president as we discuss what's happening in the United States government. But looking at it from a North Carolinian's perspective, to your point, I don't think anybody cares as long as you're doing right by the people of North Carolina. You're doing your job. You're not wasting money. You're efficient. You're qualified. You're doing what we ask you to do. That part's the easy part. The hard part is making sure that we're laser focused. We're on task. You mentioned just finding a bad link on a government website. As a taxpayer, when you see that stuff, you go, "Oh my God, how is government wasting my money today?" People expect better, and we can have better.
No, you don't want to see bad links on government websites. It's bad enough, and I know irritating enough, because I had with Division of Motor Vehicle 4 years personally that I experienced. I would click on that email that they send me to renew my registration on my vehicle. I had one vehicle. No matter what I did, I could not renew it online. Matter of fact, I transferred that vehicle to my granddaughter. She bought it from me. She can't renew that vehicle online. And you got to wonder why. Just that one car. I personally own 5 cars between myself and my business. And I can't get that one registered online. The other thing I got on most of my other vehicles, I would click on that link they give me, and I get a 404 error. Well, 404 means the site's not sound. It took me 4 years of harassing DMV to get them to I finally just told my LA, I said, I want you to call them in. I want them in my office, and I want them to sit down and click this link on my email. And they did, and they're like, oh. And then they came back. You know what they told me? I was the only one that was happening to. I called, no, I didn't say exactly this, but I said, no, that's not true. I said, you go back, and I want to report on how many people had this issue. 11,000 people, Jason. 11,000 people in North Carolina were getting the same error. They never did give me a good reason why, but I'm going to tell you what. DMV, one of the first agencies we're going to address. We're going to look at what they're doing wrong. We're going to look at why they have these lines out the door all the time. We're going to look at why we have this waste of effort. I want to know why when my son went in, long after COVID was over, and they threw him out of the building and said, you have to wait outside because there's too many people in the building. He calls me up and he says, Dad, what's going on with this? And I know other people have experienced this. He said, why are they making me wait outside? I said, I don't know. I said, COVID's over. They shouldn't be doing that. And they told me there's too many people in the building. I said, you go back inside and you look for their fire certificate and you tell me how many people are allowed in that building. And he came out and it was like 75. And I called him up. I said, look, until you have 75 people in there, you're going to let these people wait in the building, But I'm looking
focus on customer service. The only reason these government agencies exist is because taxpayers pay money. And I had the same experience. My father, who is upward in years, right? And he's retired and he just needed to renew his license. Well, he learns that he's supposed to set an appointment. Then he realizes that I can't get an appointment locally until long after his license would expire. Yeah, I was able to call one of our local folks, one of your colleagues, and I said, hey, can you help my dad get an appointment and all that? And yes, but how many citizens out there don't know who to call, and they shouldn't have to go through 3 more layers to just get something done. When really all he functionally is doing is paying the government for permission to continue driving.
Yes, and I agree with that. Matter of fact, I've probably told you this before. I have a real issue with having to pay for a fishing license. And Wildlife asked me why I had a concern with that. I said, well, according to the Bible, I have dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and the animals of the land. And the government's taking that right away from me. That's a God-given right, and selling it back to me at a fee. Now, my question has always been, what do I have to prove to get a fishing license? See, if I'm going to get a driving license, I have to prove I can drive. If I want to be a doctor, I have to prove I have knowledge of medicine. If I want to be a barber, I have to prove I can cut hair, right? So there's a license involved there. What do I have to prove to go fishing? I have to prove I have money, right? I don't have to prove I know how to fish, where to fish, when to fish, how to tie a knot, how a fishing pole works. I don't have to prove anything. I just have to prove I have money. I'm all in favor of getting rid of the fishing license and hunting licenses in total. Why? Well, then they tell me, well, Representative, we need money to run the program. Well, if you don't have the program, you don't need money to run it. Now, that just makes too much sense, doesn't it?
I started to say these things seem painfully obvious to most folks, right? But then there's government, which does muck it up a bit. But and we got about a minute, Keith, before we let you go. But I am personally interested. As I told you last week, we got a chance to catch up, and I love this idea. I know what you're going to do with it, because you get excited each day when you get up and you go, "Yep, we're going to go squeeze out some more efficiencies." And I think that's what's needed. But before we go, you got about 30 seconds. Let our audience know what they need to know, and then we'll have you back on as the committee starts to work.
Absolutely. Well, what people need to know is if you're aware of any waste, fraud, or abuse in government, contact your representative and tell them to get that to me, or just email my office at keith.kidwell@ncleg.gov, and I will absolutely address these issues. Now, it may not be that I always get back to everybody, but if you send me an email, I'm going to dig into it and find out what's going on, and we're going to make sure that we clean up state government and do exactly what they're doing in D.C.
I know you will. Representative Keith Kidwell, thanks for being on All Things Saine. We'll have you on soon. Have a great week, my friend.
Thanks, Jason. You too. Bye-bye.
Take care.